High on a hill among Tennessee farmlands and near a winding river stands a place of enduring purpose. That purpose ignited as a spark in the heart of just one man, but caught fire within each passing generation. Now, over a century later, the spark has grown into a beacon that casts a guiding light around the world and into the future. The light first warmed the heart of the spirited Ashley Johnson.
My parents were poor, but my father, being naturally ambitious for his firstborn son, impressed me when I was a small child with the belief that I could be and do something in the world.
Well, certainly Ashley Johnson overcame humble beginnings. It's important to remember that in the post-Reconstruction South, anybody began with humble beginnings. We read about times when he would alternate study with work on the farm, and he learned not only from books, but he also learned to work hard.
Our home was moral in the highest degree, but little was known of Christ. We lacked one thing, which was everything, the knowledge of God.
He describes himself as a sort of a pagan, as a person who grew up quite irreligious. I don't know if it was a crisis, whether it was maturing and growing, but by the time he was a late teenager, became more interested in matters of faith.
At 20 years of age, Ashley Johnson committed his life to God in a revival meeting and was baptized in the French Broad River. This new faith was the dawn of a lifelong ministry.
The thought came to me like a bolt from a clear sky at noonday. Here I am, trifling my time away, knowing the truth, and these people are drifting to judgment in ignorance. I will turn over a new leaf and be a preacher.
Ashley Johnson began studying the Bible, writing articles and books, and preaching in his Tennessee home. In 1884, his efforts eventually led him to oration school in Ontario, Canada, where he met his life partner, Emma Elizabeth Strong. He returned to the South with Mrs. Johnson at his side.
Ashley worked first as a state evangelist in Tennessee and then South Carolina. As evangelist, he saw this great need for the training of leaders for the church.
I sat by a blazing fire, and my heart was made heavy with the weight of the world's woe. Unexpectedly, it dawned upon me that I could teach men the gospel through the mails, and thus inspire them to proclaim it as they learned it.
Spark had become flame. The Correspondence Bible College began in 1886 with an impressive enrollment of 200 students from around the U.S. as well as Canada and Australia. But Ashley Johnson soon felt that he could better train students at a resident school that took on a name.
The School of the Evangelists was burning on the altar of my heart. I told my wife about it. She could not comprehend it. I wrote my friends about it. They gave me the greatest discouragement of which they were capable.
This fire of purpose that burned within him could not be extinguished. Its light and warmth guided him to buy his great-grandfather Jacob Kimberlin's farm, where he would build his home and school.
Of course, one of the biggest issues that faced Ashley and Emma Johnson was support. They had a fairly strong financial base through the Correspondence Bible College. Ashley's books were well published, and a lot of those books then were used for those lessons. He traveled widely, not only here locally in Tennessee, but he developed friendships in Indiana and Kentucky, Ohio. He traveled often to raise support.
The school was founded in 1893 and opened to 42 young men early the following year. Knowing many were too poor to afford tuition, Ashley Johnson offered education in exchange for farm work. The school grew in numbers and facilities, but insufficient funds and unforeseen events threatened Johnson's dream. Even after the burning of the main building in 1904, he remained undeterred.
The open door before the poor young man who desires above every other desire to preach, so rudely closed, must and shall be opened again.
God kindled the school anew through passionate faith, hard work, and answered prayers that brought just enough support to keep the lights on. Students from across the North American continent flocked to the school, increasing its size and bringing change.
As the story goes, there was a student petition late in 1908, early 1909, that recognized that it was no longer a school, it was a college, a real college, and the name should reflect it, and that the name should honor the founders. It's clear that Ashley and Emma were beloved by the students, and the students wanted to honor them. So in 1909, the school's name was changed to Johnson Bible College.
The school experienced further growth in new facilities and improved faculty. But as the college strengthened, Ashley Johnson's health had weakened. Prone to headaches and weary of body, Johnson addressed his boys one last time in 1925 before leaving Knoxville for medical treatment, never to see his boys again.
If we do not meet here again, we will meet on heaven's golden strand, where there will be no more parting, nor sorrow, nor tears. Boys, come and bring others with you.
Of course, Emma was a full and equal partner with Ashley from the very beginning of their educational ventures. She was really functioning as president the last 10 years of Ashley's life. So she became, as far as we can tell, the first female president of an all-male or even a co-educational school in American history.
So Emma Johnson devoted herself to her new office, advised by a few professors and aided by her diligent student assistant.
Emma had struggled with cancer. In 1923, she had breast cancer, and cancer returned in 1926, and this time it was her lung, and that was ultimately the cause of her death.
In less than 3 years, Mrs. Johnson has followed her husband into the land unseen. Will their work live on? Will the institution hold faith with their ideals and beliefs?
Emma, as president, in my view, she made one of the most important decisions that could have been made in the 1920s. This is a time for the Stone Campbell movement, which I would call the turbulent 20s. There are a group called the Independents who are nervous about centralization and cooperation between churches and institutions. And there are cooperatives who really want that and want to centralize. They wrote to Emma. She steers a course right down the middle of the road, or maybe you could say she takes a different street entirely.
I see no benefits that would result from any alignment such as is suggested, although I in no wise wish to question the motive that has urged this movement. We are striving to do only one thing, the preparing of young men for the ministry. We have always felt that this was our one mission, and so have tried to keep away from all the controversies that hinder many times the cause of our Master.